Tonight on Cronkite News, how one organization is using strength and competition to raise money and awareness for a special cause.
Plus, the NHL All-Star break has arrived, how the season looks for the Coyotes and the steps the team has taken to improve from last season.
And we take a look at the bills that could impact Arizona voters, how voter rights groups are speaking out. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Jonah Krell.
And I'm Lauren Avenatti. Thank you for joining us.
The Phoenix Suns faced off against the Brooklyn Nets last night, and the big headline was Kevin Durant making his return to the Barclays Center for the first time since he asked to be traded last year.
Yeah, it was a big night for the Suns. KD ended the night with 33 points. Yusuf Nurkic with the double-double. However, Jonah, the talk of the night was Devin Booker's celly on former teammate Mikal Bridges. Fourth quarter, KD passes the ball to Book, who makes the jumper, and how does he celebrate? The same way Mikal Bridges does. You can see Booker mess around with his former teammate. Suns go on to win 136-120. Suns leave the concrete jungle and head over to Atlanta to face the Hawks tomorrow night.
And the Arizona Coyotes have enjoyed a much improved season as they head into the All-Star break this weekend. Lauren, they're surprising some people.
Yeah, Jonah, they are actually hoping to stay in postseason contention when games resume next week. Cronkite News reporter Danny Sullivan takes us through the Yotes' improvements at the halfway mark of the season.
Thanks, guys. The Arizona Coyotes' success has been night and day compared to where the team was last year at this point. Heading into the All-Star break last year, the Yotes' record stood at a bleak 16-28-6. with only 38 points to show for it. Fast forward a year later, and the Coyotes are right in the thick of it, playing complete games, notching big wins, and tallying a 23-22-3 record with 49 points to show for it. While the Coyotes' success this season has come from some familiar faces, longtime Coyotes Clayton Keller and Lawson Krause have led the way on offense. Keller has posted a team-leading 20 goals and 25 assists, while Krause has added 19 goals and 10 assists himself. While we may agree that filling the net is great, I think we can agree that protecting it is even better. The Coyotes have seen much improved goaltending, with the bulk of their success coming from Connor Ingram. Ingram has had a breakout year with a career-high 17 wins and 5 shutouts, which is tied for best in the entire league.
You know, I can't say enough good things about Ingy and the way he's kind of taken his game to the next level this year. It's been fun to play in front of, that's for sure.
With 34 games left to go, the Coyotes find themselves just 5 points out of a wild card spot in the Western Conference. And head coach Andre Tourigny knows just how crucial this break is.
I know they just need to take a good break right now, mentally and physically, because staying in that grind, staying in that hunt, it's not just tough physically, it's tough emotionally tonight. Thanks God we're going in the break. We'll need a few days to recover.
Clayton Keller will be representing the Valley in this weekend's NHL All-Star game up in Toronto. As for the Coyotes, their playoff push will resume on February 8th as the defending champion Vegas Golden Knights come to the Mullet. From the touchscreen, I'm Danny Sullivan, Cronkite News.
Now from the ice to the hardwood, Arizona State men's basketball welcomes Stanford to Desert Financial Arena tonight. The Sun Devils have lost 4 of their last 5 games after jumping out to a 4-0 start to Pac-12 play. And injuries have played a big part, but also defensive lapses have been a big problem as well. Against ASU's last 2 opponents, the Sun Devils have given up 80 or more points per game. Given the fact that they average less than 70 points on offense, Bobby Hurley's squad needs to win the defensive battle and get stops, something that they failed to do against Oregon and Oregon State last week.
Pleased with how we defended in either game, really. Well, the first half we were fine versus Oregon, second half of that game, and then virtually the whole game versus Oregon State. I'm not taking anything away from both of those teams. I mean, Oregon, I think, made 12 or 13 shots in a row against us at one point in the second half, which if I did a drill with like one of my better teams and asked them to make that many shots like outside of the paint, I don't we could be there a while.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a sport in which competitors use techniques to try to force their opponent to tap out in submission. Cronkite News reporter Philip Level has more about how the BJJ community is working together to tap cancer out.
Tap Cancer Out is a non-profit organization that motivates and empowers the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community to raise awareness and funds to battle cancer. They have raised and donated over $6 million dating back to the first Tap Cancer Out tournament.
When I came up with the idea for Tap Cancer Out, it was all the way back in 2010, and it was really just about combining my passion, which happened to be for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my hatred for cancer.
For many, being able to participate in an activity they love while supporting a cause they believe in means the world.
When I was 8 years old, I was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma behind my left eye. It's a tissue cancer, and I'm fortunate to be standing here today with 20/20 vision and no issues with anything. It's about support, it's about bonding, it's about teamwork, it's about friendship, building relationships.
People from all over the country travel to be able to participate in the Tap Cancer Out tournaments. This includes the top fundraisers for this year's Phoenix Open, who came all the way from Montana.
So, little town of Big Fork, Montana is a beautiful community. The support there is phenomenal. We got on the local radio station. We put together raffles, so we went around and collected donations from local businesses and put together gift baskets for raffles. We did everything we could.
The success of our events like these, specifically this one in Phoenix, relies on the Phoenix BJJ community. Like, we are just a small team of people who bring a lot of equipment.
Over $75,000 was raised at this year's Phoenix Open, and almost $300,000 has been raised by the Phoenix BJJ community in the past 4 years. In Scottsdale, Philip Level, Cronkite News.
Spring training is almost here, and as each stadium is preparing for fans, Jonah, one stadium is full of surprises. Stay tuned to see what surprises will be happening at Surprise Stadium for Texas Rangers fans.
Plus, taking a look at that weather, we might be seeing some more clouds coming back to Phoenix. Stay tuned for the weather update.
One and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Spring training is set to begin for most teams 2 weeks from today, but Jonah, the Dodgers and Padres actually start 1 week from tomorrow.
Yeah, Lauren, it makes sense as those two teams are starting the season a week early with a game in South Korea. But back in Arizona, fans usually come out in droves to watch their favorite team during spring training. Tim Russell joins us in studio now to talk about how Surprise Stadium is expecting a major spike in attendance. Tim?
Yes, well, when you're home to the World Series champions, you can expect way more interest in the team, and that's what Surprise Stadium in the West Valley is anticipating. I took a trip out to the ballpark to see how the stadium is preparing for fans and the in-stadium technology. For the City of Surprise, many will want to come and check out the World Series champion Texas Rangers, who are set to come back to the Valley on February 14th. This will be their first time back in Arizona since winning Game 5 of the 2023 World Series.
We're so excited to see the Rangers get to make it to the World Series, and then having the Diamondbacks in the World Series as well. Honestly, just a great thing for the Cactus League, a great thing for the City of Surprise from an economic impact.
A Cactus League study showed spring training generated over $700 million for the state of Arizona last year. And attendance numbers also skyrocketed, drawing over 1.6 million fans the first time since 2019.
We have seen a significant increase in our ticket sales. When we had the Royals win the World Series in 2015, that following year for our spring training was the highest attended ever. So we're hopeful that we'll see, similar numbers to that.
Besides being home to the world champs, Surprise Stadium also plays host to the Kansas City Royals. This year, fans will get their first look at a newly renovated scoreboard that now holds the crown of being the largest in the Cactus League.
With the large board, we can now play much more detailed videos. We're going to have new in-game promotion enhancements like new contest and things, interactive elements with the crowd and the video board.
The City of Surprise and the Rangers have planned their championship celebration for February 25th before their game against the San Francisco Giants. The Commissioner's Trophy will also be available for fans to view on February 24th and 25th. The season is set to kick off for the Texas Rangers on February 23rd against their spring training rival, the Kansas City Royals. Pitchers and catchers report on Valentine's Day with full team workouts beginning February 19th. Stay tuned to Cronkite News for more spring training coverage. And from the newsroom, Tim Russell, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Tim. Baseball season is back in the air, Lauren. But we got a storm moving into the valley.
Rain, rain, go away. Adriana Gonzalez-Chavez joins us now to tell us what can we expect over the next few hours.
That's right, guys. The chances of rain are coming to the valley. We're sitting about 66 degrees right now, dipping down to 59 degrees by 10 p.m. tonight. And the chances of rain and clouds are staying for the rest of your night. Looking at our futurecast across the state, chances of snow and rain are coming all the way for a large part of Arizona. Chances of rain for Phoenix, chances of snow for the White River Globe area. Moving through Friday, and then by the time it comes to Saturday, most of those chances disappear, but still a chance of snow for White River and Globe area looking all the way through Saturday. And then looking at our low temperatures across the state, getting pretty chilly here in the valley. Phoenix dipping down to 46 degrees, Casa Grande dipping down to 41 degrees. Nice and chilly temperatures up north, Grand Canyon dipping down to 22 degrees. Flagstaff dipping down to 23 degrees for tomorrow. Looking at our high temperatures across the valley, Tempe hitting a high of 59 degrees, Mesa high of 58, Glendale a high of 61 for tomorrow. And then looking at our high temperatures across the rest of the week, cloudy for Friday. The sun comes back on Saturday with a high of 62, low of 46. Sunday, partly cloudy with a high of 66, low of 46. Looking into the rest of the week, the chances of rain and clouds come back. Monday, high of 72. Tuesday, high of 67. Chances of rain. Wednesday, also chances of rain with a high of 61. Thursday, chances of rain with a high of 60, low of 47. Friday being one of our coolest days, high of 59, low of 47. So we're below average for this time of year. So make sure to have your jackets ready. Be ready for those chances of rain coming to your area. I'm Adriana Gonzalez-Chavez from the Cronkite Weather Center.
Coming up next, a controversial proposed Senate bill that can make undocumented immigration a felony.
The bill would allow Arizona to have control over immigration. After the break, hear from those concerned about the bill.
We tell ourselves stories as a nation.
These stories need to be highlighted, they need to be explored. We're the dreamers.
How serious is America's commitment to looking at its history? How can we learn from the past?
Douglas said, "You're going to look me in the eye and see my humanity."
It's illuminating. I'm seeing the expansiveness of my history.
That's pretty great.
There's so much richness to black life and black culture.
I think the story of Muslims in America is the story of America. Tonight, they are free.
I cannot imagine how excited he must have been.
It's a wonderful feeling. This is why we do this.
It makes me even more committed to struggling for a better world.
So I've got the place.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Jesse Broaders. Taking a look at news from around Arizona, voting and elections are huge topics across the country. Here in Arizona, the legislature is looking at a number of bills that'll impact voters. Athena Kehoe was at the Capitol for an event today where organizations came out to support voter access. She joins us now from the studio.
There are at least a dozen proposed laws at the legislature this term that have to do with elections, and all of the bills that are making progress sponsored by Republicans. Today, a group of concerned Arizonans share why they feel the bills are harmful. In a press conference at the Capitol today, members of the Arizona Voting Rights Coalition pushed the importance of inclusive and accessible policies when it comes to elections. The group is concerned about the direction the legislature is moving in, including a bill that would allow state lawmakers to override the majority vote when appointing presidential electors.
Why is it that year after year we must fight a multitude of bills with no other purpose than to make it more difficult for people to vote? Wouldn't you think that in a place that prides itself on being a democratic republic, that we would cherish voting rights?
Republicans say they are trying to ensure the security and safety of elections, which is reflected in Republican-sponsored bills that would regulate everything from hand-counted audits, ballot security, and allowing observers at counting centers. In the newsroom, Athena Kehoe, Cronkite News.
Several groups against a controversial bill were also at the Capitol today. Senate Bill 1231 would make immigration without documentation a misdemeanor and in some cases a felony, which would allow the state to regulate and control immigration. The bill was introduced by Senate Republicans, and the bill copies part of a Texas immigration law, which the U.S. Department of Justice says is unconstitutional. The Barrio Defense Committee and the National Day Labor Organizing Network hosted a press conference today where opponents of the bill voiced their concerns.
It is very frustrating, but we're not giving up. Just like they're not giving up, we're not going to give up, because they see us as illegal aliens. But the thing is, they don't realize that we have been going back and forth for 500 years, even longer, because we are descendants of the very communities that are still here, the indigenous communities.
Two more Democrats resigned from the Arizona House yesterday, which means there are now 4 vacancies. Lisa's son resigned after an ethics report accused her of violating ethics rules. Moments later, another resignation, this time by Representative Amish Shah, who plans to run for Congress. The resignations adding to the open seats to the House. Back in December, Representative Athena Selman resigned to run an abortion rights campaign. And last week, Representative Jennifer Longden resigned to work with the Arizona Alliance for Community Health Centers. On Friday, Javin Hodge will be sworn in to take Selman's seat. However, the process of replacing Longden hasn't started. Now a look at the Senate race in Arizona, where a potential three-way race is brewing, and it's costly. Senator Kyrsten Sinema reportedly raised just under $600,000 in the last quarter of 2023. That's her worst fundraising quarter in 3 years. It's still unknown whether she will run for re-election as an independent. In that same period, Democratic challenger Ruben Gallego raised $3.3 million. Kari Lake is right behind, raising $2.1 million during her first quarter as a candidate. That's according to her campaigns. Now let's take a look at some headlines across the country. President Biden issued an executive order today that goes against Israeli settlers in the West Bank. The order would impose visa bans and financial sanctions on settlers accused of attacking Palestinians inside the occupied West Bank. Earlier in the day, the president attended the National Prayer Breakfast at the U.S. Capitol, along with leaders from Congress. During his speech, President Biden called for peace in the region.
We value and pray for the lives taken and for the families left behind, for all those who are living in dire circumstances, innocent men, women, and children, held hostage or under bombardment or displaced, not knowing where the next meal will come from or if it will come at all. Not only do we pray for peace, we are actively working for peace, security, dignity for the Israeli people and the Palestinian people.
Meanwhile, Department of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is apologizing for lack of communication during his prostate cancer treatment. In December, Austin had surgery, and due to complications, he was hospitalized again in January. That's when he told White House officials about his diagnosis and surgery.
I never directed anyone to keep my January hospitalization from the White House. I am very proud of what we've achieved at the department over the past 3 years. But we fell short on this one.
If you're a Hulu, ESPN Plus, or Disney Plus user, listen up. Disney is cracking down on password sharing on its streaming services. The company updated the language on its 3 streaming services to limit password sharing. Hulu users will begin to see these restrictions on March 14th. The company says they'll limit users from sharing their account with users outside of their household. The announcement comes after Netflix's password sharing crackdown, which brought a record number of subscribers to the company. That's it for your headlines across the nation. For Cronkite News, I'm Jesse Broaders. Back to Jonah and Lauren at the desk.
Every year, the Barrett-Jackson Auto Show brings out car enthusiasts from every generation.
Yeah, Jonah, for many enthusiasts, seeing the cars is like a blast from the past. After the break, we'll introduce you to some enthusiasts who use the car auction as a way to take a trip down memory lane.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The Barrett-Jackson car auction at Westworld in Scottsdale wrapped up this past weekend. And of course, the event is all things cars.
Yes, but for some folks, it means just a little bit more. It's a walk down memory lane. Jack Pearson brings us all of the nostalgia from the show.
I was born and raised in the muscle car era, 60s and the 70s.
I'm kind of like cars, come kind of from a family of racing and different cars.
My dad grew up in Poland and he worked on tractors his whole life. So whenever my dad sees like an engine, he gets all excited and stuff. So it's actually pretty cool.
Just growing up with the cars that I had, the cars that all my buddies had, and you look at them now and it just takes you back.
Back home, like my brother's got my dad his first car and had the replica, so I've seen that. And the gas pumps, we actually have, when my grandpa did gas pumps, we found his and restored it, so that's kind of cool.
A lot of the cars in the 50s, you know, that I love those probably the most.
A lot of this stuff just hits home for me.
Did you do this? So $50,000 done.
It's good to see them reminisce on their childhood and see their old cars that they would love to purchase.
It's something for us to do, and it just, like I said, it brings back so many memories.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.